you really want to think about who your legal advisors are. The best money you can spend on a lawyer when you don't need a lawyer. When you need a lawyer, everything becomes a lot more expensive. And so in the early days, you want to make sure you've got your right structure set up. If you're getting some general advice on what you're actually looking at doing. In every different country, there's lots of different laws, and you want to make sure that at the very beginning, you're operating you're doing everything legally, and there's not some legislation that's been created that you don't know anything about. And so really getting that advice early on is really important. So when I'm engaging with lawyers, I always try to make sure that I understand what the costs are going to be. Lawyers are expensive, and there's different types of lawyers. You can deal with a barrister, you can deal with a legal firm that has partners and then senior associates and then sort of more junior people, and they all charge different amounts of money. And so what's really important at the beginning is finding out what do they charge and what's the piece of work that you're wanting them to do, and making sure you get an estimate for that work. And so that estimate is super valuable because it keeps the lawyer accountable, and generally lawyers may not want to give you that estimate to start with, and if you're using good lawyers, they will give you that estimate, but you really want that estimate because then you want to be able to control your costs. It's very, very easy for costs to blow out, and I've seen this happen so many times, and now I've spent a lot of time working with different lawyers, and I really understand how best to do that, and making sure I get that estimate is critical, because when you complete that bit of work and you're like, okay, here's the estimate, here's what you charge me, do these things match, or they're pretty close, okay, that we're okay. If they're not, it gives you the ability to go and negotiate. What you want to find is lawyers that you can work with on an ongoing basis, and so that might take you a bit of time to actually go through different types of legal firms, or finding specialists that deal with particular types of legislation that you're working in. And so finding specialists who deal with whether it's employment, or whether it's to do with IP protection, or whether it's just general commercial law, or capital raising. There's all different types of lawyers that specialize in those different things, and having a range of different lawyers, different types of lawyers, is going to be important as your business starts to expand. So don't think there's just one type of lawyer that you're going to use that's going to cover everything. Try and find specialist lawyers that deal with those specialist areas. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long term, because that specialist lawyer will be able to, who will know in detail that type of legislation that you're dealing with, and allow you to actually get there much faster and ultimately cost you less money. So keep in mind, the most important thing is to get that estimate. If you get that estimate, you're going to be fine. Finding those specialists is the next most important thing. So I hope that helps, and hopefully you spend that money up front. Don't spend that money when you've got it. Well, you're going to have to spend that money when you're later on, but making sure you get that advice early on is really, really important. So good luck.